In our pursuit of solving polynomial equations, we're going to take a look at some different, maybe a little bit unusual factoring techniques if certain situations arise and where we can use some special rules. And we're going to start off here by looking at something called the sum and difference of cubes. And you can see here that if we have the sum of cubes, we could factor that, say if we got a cubed plus b cubed, a cubed plus b cubed, then we can actually factor that into a plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared. And then also we can have a difference of cubes where we got a cubed minus b cubed, and that could equal a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. And it's interesting here, if we've got the sum of cubes, in our first factor we have a sum, but in our middle term in our second factor is negative, and we see the opposite of that occur when we have a difference of cubes. So let's see if we can break this one down. I've got 5y to the fourth minus 320yz cubed. Now at first blush, this doesn't look like a difference of cubes. However, anytime I approach factoring a polynomial, I want to think about, can I factor out any common factors? Well, let's see, right here I got a y to the fourth and I've got a y. So I could factor out a y, and that would leave me y cubed in this first term, but also I've got a 5 and I've got negative 320. Well, negative 320 ends in 0, and so it's definitely, I can definitely factor out a 5y. Now, once I do, what have I got left? Well, if I factor out a 5y out of 5y to the fourth, I'm going to have y cubed. All right, that doesn't look too bad. And then when I divide 5 into 320, let's see, what does that equal? 5 into 320. Well, that equals 64. So that'd be negative 64 z cubed. 64, negative 64. Well, 4 times 4 is 16. That's 4 squared. Or negative, let's say negative 4 squared would be 16 times negative 4 again would be, guess what, negative 64. So I'm going to write it like this first. I got negative 64 z cubed, but negative 64 z cubed is the same as y cubed minus 4z cubed. All right. Well, guess what? Now I've got a difference of cubes. So now I can look at this rule and I can then factor this thing. So let's see. I still got my 5y. All right, and so let's see. A minus b. Well, that, and this would translate to y minus 4z. That takes care of this portion. And then I've got the second portion, say a squared. Well, that's going to be the same as y squared in this example, plus ab. Well, that would be 4yz, 4yz. Where am I getting my ab from? Here and here. Plus, let's see, 4z. And now that's squared, so that would be 16z squared. So, using the difference of cubes of 5y to the fourth minus 320yz cubed, I can factor that as 5y times y minus 4z times y squared plus 4yz plus 16z squared. Let's look at another one. You want to? I don't care if you do or not. We're going to. All right, so this time I got negative 54 w to the fourth minus 250 wz cubed. Well, just like the last one, I see the w to the fourth in the first term and a w in the second term, so certainly I could factor out a w. Let's see, I got negative 54 minus 250. Both of those are even numbers. So let's see, 2 into negative 54. Let's say negative 2. Let's do it that way. Negative 2 into 50 divided, negative 54 divided by negative 2. Let me go that route. Let's see, 2 into 5 is 2. 14. Okay. So if I factor out a negative 2w, then I'm going to have 27w cubed. And let's see, negative 250 divided by negative 2, that's going to be plus 125 z cubed. All right, let's see, 27 is 3 cubed, and 125 is 5 cubed. All right, I got a sum of cubes. So let's rewrite this. Maybe we can see it so we can plug it into our formula a little bit. So I got negative 2w times, let's put this, I guess, in a bracket, times 3w cubed, right? 3w cubed, written that way. 3 cubed is 27. W cubed is w cubed, plus, also in parentheses, 5z cubed. All right, well now I've got a sum of cubes, where 3w is my a factor, if I'm plugging it into here, and 5z is my b factor. All right, let's continue. So I got negative 2w times 3w plus 5z times, all right, so my a factor was 3w. If I square that, that's going to be 9w squared minus ab together, 3w times 5z, that would be 15wz, negative 15wz, plus 5z squared would be 25z squared, close my parentheses. All I can say to this is Shazam.